Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. I guess some people think DNA is thicker than common sense. Today in the rLounge, it turns out family loyalty is a one-way street. Straight to the renovation site with no turnoffs for fairness or recognition. Up first, OP is a victim of favoritism. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my parents after they gave my sister their house? I, 33 male, have always had a complicated relationship with my parents. Growing up, my younger sister, Lily, 30 female, was clearly the favorite. They were more lenient with her, gave her more opportunities, and supported her financially in ways they never did for me. I accepted it over the years, figuring it was just the way things were. A few months ago, my parents decided to downsize and move into a smaller home instead of selling their current house, which is the one we grew up in. They decided to give it to Lily. They said she needed it more because she's starting a family and could use the space. They didn't offer me anything, not even a conversation about it. This hit me hard, especially since my wife and I are also planning to buy a home soon, and we could have really used some help. When I brought this up to my parents, they brushed it off and said Lily has always been the one who needed more support. I told them I felt hurt and left out, but they just acted like I was being selfish. Fast forward to last week. My parents reached out asking if I could help them with some renovations on their new place. They wanted me to spend several weekends doing repairs and helping them move, all without any compensation or even acknowledgement of how unfair the situation feels to me. I told them no, that I'm not willing to help them after the way they handled giving away the house. They were shocked and accused me of being petty and ungrateful. Lily also chimed in, saying I'm causing unnecessary drama and making everything about me. Now, my parents are barely speaking to me, and some extended family members have reached out telling me I'm overreacting and that I should just help them out because family comes first. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my parents after they gave my sister their house? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Thanks to everyone who commented. It really made me think about my situation from different perspectives. A lot has happened since I posted, so I figured I'd give you all an update. After reading through your comments, I realized that I needed to have a more honest conversation with my parents. I went over to talk to them, hoping they'd understand how hurt I was by their decision to give the house to Lily without even considering my situation of discussing it with me. I explained that it wasn't just about the house, but the years of feeling like I've always been second to her. Unfortunately, the conversation didn't go as I'd hoped. My parents were immediately defensive. My mom insisted that they had every right to do what they wanted with their property and that I should be more understanding of Lily's needs. My dad doubled down, saying that they were just doing what was best for the family and that I was being selfish for making this about myself. They refused to acknowledge any favoritism or the impact their decision had on me. As for Lily, when I confronted her, she basically dismissed my feelings. She told me she didn't see what the big deal was and accused me of trying to stir up drama. She said that if the roles were reversed, she wouldn't be upset and implied that I was overreacting. I tried to explain how it felt to be overlooked for so long, but she just shrugged it off and told me to move on. At this point, I've decided to step back. I've agreed to help my parents with the renovations because I don't want to burn bridges completely, but I made it clear that this doesn't mean I'm okay with how they handled things. They offered to pay me for my time, but honestly, it feels like a way to brush off the real issues. I'm not sure if our relationship will ever fully recover, but I'm focusing on setting boundaries and prioritizing my own well-being. Thanks again to everyone who shared their thoughts. It's been really validating to know that my feelings are justified, even if my family doesn't see it that way. If anyone has advice on how I should continue, then please let me know. It would help a lot, as they are my parents and I still love them. It's hard for me to just cut them out of my life, even with favoritism. Thanks, y'all. Edit 2. Thanks again to y'all for your comments. Some of the more recent ones have been a wake-up call for me. Since my last update, I decided that if I was going to help with the renovations, it needed to be a team effort. Given that Lily is the one who's going to benefit from the house, it only seemed fair that she should help out too. So, when my parents asked me again to assist with the renovations, I told them I'd only agree if Lily also pitched in. I made it clear that I'm not willing to do all the work while she just reaps the rewards. At first they were resistant and said that Lily's busy with work and planning to remove, but I stood my ground, explaining that if she's old enough to get the house, she's old enough to take on some responsibility for it too. This led to a pretty intense argument. My parents tried to guilt trip me, saying I was being unreasonable and that I should just help out because it's family. Same BS line. Lily wasn't happy either. When I confronted her about it, she flat out refused at first. She said she didn't have the time or energy to deal with renovations and argued that our parents were the ones who should handle it since they were the ones who offered her the house. I didn't back down. I told her that it wasn't fair for me to shoulder all the work while she got the house handed to her. We went back and forth for a while, and it got pretty heated. Eventually, I think she realized I wasn't going to budge, and she reluctantly agreed to help. It wasn't an easy win, but we've now made plans to work on the house together. She's not thrilled about it, and I can tell she's only doing it to keep the peace, but at least she's agreed to take some responsibility. I'm still not entirely happy with how things have played out, but at least I'm not the only one putting in the effort. Hopefully this can be a step toward a more balanced relationship moving forward, though I'm not holding my breath. I'm glad I've had you guys help over the last few days. Thanks again for all the advice and support. It's been really great to hear from people who understand where I'm coming from. I'll keep you all updated if anything else happens. Let's get one thought from the community. Not the a-hole. And are you me? My mom gave my sister 2 cars and gave my brother 2 more. Gave them both money, free rent when they needed a place to live, and she consistently watches my sister's kids for days at a time just because my stay-at-home mom sister wants a break. I once asked my mom to borrow $30 for 3 days with a post-dated check in my hand, so I could get a new tire for the car my husband and I were sharing so we could get to work. She told me no because I needed to learn a lesson about finances, and I'd thank her later. A few years ago, I asked her to watch my baby for 3 hours while my mother-in-law was dying of cancer. She called me a spoiled, ungrateful brat who only used her for money and childcare, none of which I ever got from her, ever. Been low contact ever since. Now she's hinting that she wants to move in with me and my family because we're the only financially stable ones with a house. And her husband has Alzheimer's, but no one will help her. It's been funny pretending I don't know what she's talking about, and I look forward to laughing and hanging up on her when she actually gets the guts to ask outright. F her. You're not the a-hole here at all, OP. I mean, who wouldn't want to spend their weekends renovating a house that you have no stake in, all while your sister lounges around like a princess? You're not wrong for refusing to help with the renovations after being brushed off and made to feel second to your sister once again. It's not petty or ungrateful to stand up for yourself and set boundaries when you feel like you're being taken advantage of. The fact that your parents and sister don't seem to recognize how their actions have hurt you is really disappointing. And it's understandable that you'd want to step back from the situation. Good luck moving forward, OP, and I hope your family eventually comes around to understanding your perspective. What would you do in OP's shoes? Up next, OP navigates the fallout of his family's conspiracy theories. Am I the a-hole for laughing in my sister-in-law's face when she DNA tested my daughter? I, 30 male, have a daughter who's 6. I am not biologically related to her at all. There is no blood relation between us. I was friends with her mother for most of all my childhood. We were never involved romantically and were always just friends. She had her daughter at 23 with her 25-year-old husband. When my daughter was a newborn, about 3 months technically, both her mother and father were killed. I won't go into too much detail for privacy reasons, but it was a workplace shooting. My friend and her husband had worked in the same building and were both killed. Both my friend and her husband had grown up with less than ideal families and didn't have any siblings, so there weren't any next of kin for their daughter to go to. However, because I was close with them, I was able to adopt her. Even though I had been iffy about the idea of kids, I didn't want their daughter to grow up in foster care or around people who didn't have a connection to her bio parents, so I stepped in. My parents and siblings know that my daughter is not my actual daughter, biologically speaking. My daughter, I'll call Lily for the post, also knows that she's adopted. I've never really hid the fact that she was adopted. She knows her parents are dead and were killed by a bad man, but I'm saving the details for when she's older. Lily does not look like me at all. She looks exactly like her mother and biological dad. Most people assume that I'm her bio dad and that she just took after her mom. I don't ever really correct this when and if people assume this because it just seems unnecessary. My brother has been with his fiancée for about 2 years now. A few weeks ago, we were all meeting up at my parents' house and my sister-in-law saw an old picture of me, my friend, and her husband. She pointed to my friend and asked who she was. I explained that was Lily's mother. Sister-in-law got quiet and stood in front of the picture for a while. I didn't think much of it. To clarify, she knows my friend died, but I guess didn't know that she had been married or that Lily is not my bio daughter. I suppose she assumed my daughter was mine and my friend's biological daughter. My sister-in-law got a DNA test done on my daughter behind my back. She used my brother's DNA for the test, and when it came back that they weren't related, She knew that meant me and Lily weren't related. She came up to me with the results and waved them in my face, saying that I was taking care of a dead woman's affair baby. She said this to me in front of my daughter. I just stared at her a while before busting out laughing at this. I told her I knew Lily wasn't my biological daughter and that this thing called adoption exists. Her face went red and she stormed off. My brother is mad I embarrassed his fiancée, but I said she embarrassed herself by DNA testing a kid that isn't hers and then parading the results up to me. What did she want me to do? What was her goal with this? Did she want me to break down and abandon my daughter? My brother said she thought she was doing the right thing and called me an a-hole. I don't feel like the a-hole, especially considering my sister-in-law was the one who stuck her nose where it doesn't belong. I'm asking for Reddit opinions, mostly just for validation. So was I the a-hole? The community has a couple responses. First up, not the a-hole. She wanted to stir some crap up. That's a hell of a lot of effort to help. Also, I'd be pissed about how she got Lily's DNA to do this. It didn't go the way she thought it would, so she got mad. Your brother's just trying to side with his soon-to-be wife. Someone else says, I need to add this. She did this in front of your daughter to maximize the damage she thought she was exposing. That is straight evil. Wow, what did she think the endgame was? You tossed Lily out like she's an Amazon return? Sorry, kid. DNA says no refunds on this one. Not only that, but I'd say your brother needs to reevaluate what doing the right thing means because this isn't just stirring the pot. You're not the a-hole here, OP. Update. My sister-in-law ended up coming to my house and apologizing, as well as telling me the full story. My brother put her up to the DNA test. When I first adopted Lily, my brother for some reason believed that Lily was my bio daughter. He thought that me and Lily's mom were together and just weren't telling anyone. He believes that when she got pregnant, Lily's mom told me that Lily was mine and that she was going to just say it was her husband's, and I went along with it because I didn't really want kids. Sister-in-law was under the impression I believed I was Lily's bio dad. She saw the picture of Lily's mom and I, and after asking for clarification on who she was, assumed we were together on it, and then got suspicious when she saw that the other guy in the picture, Lily's actual bio dad, looked a lot like Lily. I also want to clarify, I didn't tell her that Lily's bio dad was in the picture because she had specifically pointed to Lily's mom, and I assumed she knew that Lily was adopted. I didn't know my brother had been telling her lies for nearly 2 years. She got the DNA test out of her own suspicions, and my brother helped her with it because he thought it would reveal that I was actually Lily's bio dad. He manipulated her into thinking that it would clear the air of suspicion, when really he was just trying to prove that I was really Lily's bio dad and lying about the reasons for adoption. Well, of course the results proved I wasn't Lily's bio dad and that my brother was wrong. My brother felt too embarrassed to confess to his fiancée that he had lied about the circumstances, which is why sister-in-law confronted me with the results. My sister-in-law also apologized for showing me the results in front of my daughter. She told me that her mom had an affair and cheated on her father, got pregnant with another man's kid, and had let her father believe the kid was his. Her father was devastated by this when he found out, and she grew very resentful of women who do that to their spouses. She had wanted to sit me down and talk to me about it without my daughter, but when she saw me with my daughter, she got angry thinking I was being led on to believe I was raising my daughter when I actually was raising another man's kid, and she ended up exploding and immediately waved the results in my face. My sister-in-law does feel very guilty, and she's angry at my brother for lying to her. I'm not angry at her for doing the test, because she thought she was doing the right thing. I also forgave her for the way she told me about the results, because clearly affairs are a sensitive subject for her, and I can understand why she would have exploded like that. I'm pretty sure she plans to break up with my brother now, and I don't blame her. When I called and asked my brother about this, he admitted it. When I asked why he would think this, he said that he couldn't think of a reason why a man who had been against having kids at the time would willingly adopt a baby without having a blood connection to it. He told sister-in-law that I was Lily's bio dad and was aware of the fact. He took it a step further and said that me and Lily's mom were together at the time of Lily's conception. Both me and my parents are going low contact with my brother for a while now. I know I will forgive my brother eventually, but I can't do that right now. He believed I was low enough to have an affair with a married woman, got her pregnant, and take no responsibility. Allow her to pass off the kid as another man's, and then only take responsibility because her mom died. It sounds like this situation got incredibly messy, but I'm glad your sister-in-law came forward with the full story and took responsibility for her actions. As for your brother, it's really disappointing that he created this whole false narrative instead of just having an honest conversation with you. It's understandable that you need some space from him after such a huge breach of trust. Taking some time apart seems like the right call for now, and it's good that you're prioritizing your peace of mind and your daughter's well-being. Hopefully, your brother will learn from this and eventually come forward with a sincere apology when the time is right. What do you think? Thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon. And put your chair back where you found it.